This is why I laugh at you guys. I'm sorry. This is why I laugh at you. What are you talking about? Tutelage? Tutelage? Come on.
You
Come
do
on.
understand. You
True,
understand.
that's a lie table.
You
It's a
understand
lie
the
table.
word.
That is
She
not
understands.
a table. That is
You
a
understand
lie
the word,
table.
right?
That is
You
a
understand.
lie table. That's what that
She
is.
understands. That's why she's
So, anyways, let me put this
stretching.
one. No. So when we sit here, we have conversations about.
Shot clock.
I do think it's when it comes to listening, I think it's interesting because if listening will come from the women first, I always find it funny that men will say that they're the leaders, but then they expect a woman to exhibit leadership for them to reciprocate what she is doing. If you are the leader, then it's incumbent upon you to listen to the woes and the issues of the people who are following you, and then and clearly explain your leadership, right? And give them a vision, something to follow while adhering to their concerns. Like, that's, you would want to listen to the people who follow you if you're a leader. But if you're saying as a leader, hey, I require for you to listen to me first and then I'll listen to you, they're probably not going to follow because you're not going to get their buy-in. You're not going to get that investment from them because they don't feel like their opinions matter, right? So when it comes to the leader follow type of dynamic, I do think that that part is a little bit interesting. I also think it's interesting when Aaron just spoke about emotional responses. That's not something that's specific to women. So I'm going to take your advice and I'm going to spread it and say that that's what I'm going to apply to listening to most of y'all talk. Because most of the time when you guys speak, a woman will say something like, hey, you know what? It's hard for you to be a protector when men are the ones harming women mostly, right? It's hard to say you're the protector when you're largely the predator in society. So what, you saying all men are bad? You're saying all men are just out here harm? No. What I said was what I said. What you heard was your emotions. So it's not only women who listen from an emotional place. Men listen from an emotional place because we are emotional beings. You cannot say that we're not. You can't say it's just women who listen emotionally. If there's one time you can point to a man, overwhelmingly, especially on these podcasts when y'all crash out left and right, who listen from a logical place and not emotional, I would be glad to hear it.
So, this tends to happen every now and then, pretty, and maybe that's just your gift. The way the ability for you to hear things and look at things and find a way to introduce propaganda, almost like in a sense of the danger side of life. Two things can be true at the same time. I think we can all agree to that, right? So as you stated, oftentimes the predators are the men, but overwhelmingly the men are also the heroes as well as the leaders. And I like how you dismantle our position. Like, this is, it's a gift. You'll take us and prop us up and tear us down at the same time. This is not me being emotional. This is just what I'm hearing. To state, and this is why I say sometimes with women it's interesting. I wish at times you guys play sports. I wish at times there was more positions of leadership, because a lot of what you respond to, you would understand. It's kind of like being hired as a job. If you're being hired, I'm first instructing. At some point in this exchange, you will have an opinion. You will have things that you garner and gather amongst the transition of our relationship. And I think this is the biggest disparity in common day. Women really believe that their relationship is their relationship. You were only here because I placed you here. No woman runs relationships. It's my relationship. I had to see value in you. I had to, be open, and I'll land JR in a minute, because I think this is important. So I think that's when you respond. That's what I think you leave out. You want to give credence, and then you want to also introduce terror, for whatever reason. I think that's just maybe your gift. You're like the Joker of the panel in a sense. And I'm not being critical. I'm saying from Batman and the characters. But basically, like I said, two things can be true at the same time. What Aaron said, I think, is pivotal. A lot of what the men are saying. oftentimes the disconnect for me is what I find is that there is growth on both ends. I would be remiss to say that men are all fully finished when we're introduced to you. That would be a lie. But I can overwhelmingly state that when you guys are in our care, under our leadership, under our tutelage, you are not a finished product. There is so much growth and so much guidance that most women need. For you to even call yourself a balanced woman, you need a man for that to even be true, you know? And I know you may not agree. Maybe you're not there at that developed stage yet to understand what I'm saying, but maybe one day we'll arrive there, and I'll land.
All right, go ahead, respond pretty, and then let's go ahead and get Aaron.
Sorry. This is why I laugh at you guys. I'm sorry. This is why I laugh at you. What are you talking about? Tutelage? Tutelage? Come on.
You
Come
do
on.
understand.
True,
You understand.
that's a lie table. It's
You
a
understand
lie
the
table.
word.
That is
She
not
understands.
a table. That is
You
a
understand
lie
the word,
table.
right?
That is
You
a
understand
lie
the word.
table. That's what that
She
is.
understands. That's why she's
So, anyways, let me put this
stretching
on.
it.
No. So when we sit here, we have conversations about
Shot clock.
when we have conversations about you're not in this position until I place you there, and you want to refer to employment. I love that you went into that realm because clearly you don't understand how employment works. See, before any company can even begin to start recruitment or even employee attraction, they have to create an employee proposition statement. And what that would be is them trying to even show and convey why they would be useful to that person in the first place. They would have their benefits. They have, hey, here's all the things we offer as a company, growth opportunities. We have gyms on membership and whatever. Like, please come, please. And they try to sell themselves. So people want to work for them. And then when they hire them or when they interview, both people interview each other, right? That person interviews and says, hey, you know what? I want this. And the company says the same thing back. And oftentimes employees are no-shows because a lot of y'all don't properly recruit and you don't make people want to work for you. And so they don't show up on their first day or they decline the offer. They're non-select, right? And then when you do get some people on to actually get hired, what they leave in the first 90 days because you do a crap job of onboarding and actually getting people excited to be a part of that organization. So there's multiple points in that where my point still lands. But True, I was not speaking about employment, and that's y'all's problem. You consider women to be employees that are disposable, and that is why you lose them often because you do not consider them to be valuable.
I would love to respond. So
Hey, give him my spot. Give him my time, JR.
I use that as an example because I'm operating under the assumption that you are actually intelligent enough to understand the comparison. And so I'll say it again, maybe slower.
I don't need it. It's the same example. It's employment.
I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to those people who are listening to this. Okay, cool, great. So if those women have not grown to understand, because this is the true fact, and most men would probably get this, the relationship is always ours. We have a vision for it. We have an expectation for it. You are part of that process when we decide to choose you, right? Cool. So I do agree, like you said, there's a discussion and whatnot. But what you had said was the fact that a good leader needs to listen. I agree with that. I don't think that that's something that we have to, I guess, showcase or even, comment on. But that's, again, why I say that's your talent. You spend an abundance amount of time trying to make it seem like men are great and limited all at the same time. I would love for you to pick a lane because it's interesting that you do that. I honestly don't know why. Maybe you haven't had a lot of great experiences with solid men, but I use the word like tutelage because it is a true statement, and you love to talk about the patriarchy and all of those things. But yeah, this is not hard to understand. Communication is a skill. It requires nurturing. It requires constant revisiting. And I think the men on these panels, the men in these spaces are actually trying to do something that hasn't been done for quite some time, because at one time, if I'm not mistaken, we didn't even really talk to y'all, at least not to really dive into the depths of how you think and feel and what you need for us to be of service to you, which would say that we are good leaders because we actually care. We're giving the time, we're giving the effort. So I'm not going to let you continue to try to make it seem like we as men are not solid in our leadership. I think that there's always room for improvement, but for the most part, I think we're doing a pretty decent job.
I'm gonna keep saying it every time y'all take shots at my personal relationships. It means you're losing the argument. I land.
Go ahead, Aaron.
He never took a shot at your relationship.
Yes, he did.
A hit dog is always gonna holler.
Yes, he did. You guys say it every single. Oh, your husband.
True didn't say that.
He
True
just
didn't say that.
said it. It just shows she hasn't had very good men in her life. No, you're trying to take.
He said she as a general person. He didn't say you. You took it personal because you goofy as hell. Let's just call a spade a spade. He wasn't even talking to you. He wasn't even talking to you. You're not even
gaslighting. He is speaking directly to me. Stop gaslighting.
He was talking in general.
Do not
You don't know the difference. You're showing you're a child because everybody knew he wasn't talking to you. Everybody knew he wasn't talking to you but you.
All right, y'all, let's go to get back on.
I'm just saying, he's your argument.